Hello, my name is Amanda Alvis, and I'm with Shady Grove Missionary Baptist Church, and I will be going over the preschool VBS training. I will be giving you 5 tips about preschoolers, and this is for ages 3 through kindergarten. Tip 1, utilize your best resource, prayer. Pray for your preschoolers and your workers. Pray for the health and safety of your workers and preschoolers. Pray and ask God who you need to invite to your VBS and who your church members need to invite. Pray for the parents and guardians of your preschoolers. Pray for the impact that VBS has on your community. Pray for the activities and that they clearly communicate Jesus' love and the biblical truths. Pray for lives to be transformed and that the gospel will be heard. Pray for the weather, for sunshine and for good weather for the week of VBS, and pray for safe travels. Make a prayer calendar and pray for VBS every day. Pray for the weeks and months that follow VBS and for intentional follow-up. Tip 1, utilize your best resource, prayer. Tip 2, develop a plan. Meet with your preschool workers. Decide who will be responsible for what activities on which days. All activities should point back to the biblical truths. Order supplies early. Have your workers make a list of needed supplies. Do a walkthrough of your classes and make a list of needed supplies. This way you have time to organize your supplies and prepare them. Alternate who teaches Bible lessons. Use a variety of teaching tools. Use music, learning centers, and activities to teach the biblical truths. Everything you do should point back to the biblical truth of that day. Develop a plan that teaching begins when the first preschooler enters the classroom. Gather all materials prior to VBS and prepare all activities ahead of time. Have an activity ready when the first preschooler arrives. This helps with limiting the chaos. Create a routine or establish boundaries so the preschoolers know what is expected. This will help you keep control because it's better to begin with control than to try to regain it. Develop a rotation schedule. Decide what rotation schedule you will use, what rotations you will use, and the time that you have for each rotation. Decide between 3 basic formats, and sometimes this is decided for you by your director. Rotate out. This is where the rotation leaders are enlisted and the classroom teacher takes the preschoolers to each rotation site. They stay with the preschoolers during the rotation and they are extra help and lead them to their next activity. Rotate in. This is where the rotation leaders are enlisted to teach the rotation in the preschool classroom, and they will rotate from classroom to classroom. The teacher stays with the preschoolers to be the extra set of hands. Self-contained classroom. This is where the preschool teacher that is enlisted to lead in the Bible activities and rotation activities. Keep the focus of the rotation activities on the biblical truths. They should all point back to the daily biblical truth. Locate the rotation sites so that you can reduce travel time and travel chaos. And this will be when you rotate out. And maintain the appropriate teacher-to-child ratio. Develop a plan for the classroom. Make it fun. You can decorate your classroom to make it fun. Decorations give preschoolers cues and clues of what the Bible teachings will be. Use music in your classroom. Preschoolers are stimulated by their environment. Keep it simple when decorating. Do not decorate the windows and the doors or the windows to the outdoors. That is important when it comes to the safety of you and the preschoolers. View your space from a preschooler's perspective. Is the space fun and inviting? What are your preschoolers seeing? Get on your knees and view your classroom from a preschooler's perspective. View the classroom from a parent's perspective. Is it clean and safe? As you develop a plan for your classroom, create a materials list of all the resources you will need for the week of VBS. Put the list in one of these categories. Items that are already available, items that you will need to make, items that you will need to purchase, and items that you can borrow. Evaluate your classroom environment and materials to see if the toys are safe and if the toys and materials are age appropriate. Do the materials help focus on the biblical truths? Are the furnishings age appropriate and the plugs have safety covers? This is a good time to clean out old toys and materials. As you develop a plan, make sure your activities are age appropriate for preschoolers. And remember that the process is just important or more important than the end product. Preschoolers are developing motor skills that allow them to color, paint, and use scissors. So let them do it. If they enjoy doing it and are hearing the biblical truths, it is successful, regardless of what it looks like. And parents want to see an activity their preschoolers have done, not been done for them. Make a plan for cleaning your classroom. Make sure toys are cleaned and then disinfected after each use. We have went over 2 tips so far. Utilize your best resource, prayer. Tip 2, develop a plan. And now to tip 3, know your preschooler. It's important for you to understand the age that you are teaching, as it may not be the age that you usually work with. Understand preschoolers are active, so plan activities that keep them moving. They are literal-minded. Use simple and concrete language. Avoid asking Jesus in your heart or your ears, or open your ears or zip your lips. They want to literally try to figure out how to open their ears. Instead, say listen with your ears. Preschoolers are curious. Provide opportunities for them to explore and experience things they usually don't encounter. Preschoolers are self-focused. Encourage them on their strengths and help them in their weaknesses. And preschoolers have short attention spans. We need to provide several short activities that keeps their attention and move them from activity to activity. Preschoolers don't mind repetition, so it's okay to repeat the activities, remembering to keep the time short. Preschoolers are sensitive. Treat all preschoolers fairly and with respect. Preschoolers are creative. Encourage their imagination through free play options and allow them to create during craft time and activities. Preschoolers need limits, providing opportunities for them to explore and develop within boundaries. Clearly provide boundaries. Help your preschoolers to know what they are and stay within them. State them positively. Instead of don't run, state what you want, which is to walk. So please walk. Tip 1, utilize your best resource, prayer. Tip 2, develop a plan. Tip 3, know your preschooler. And tip 4 is safety. For your leaders, there should be a minimum of 2 leaders over the age of 18 need to be in each preschool classroom. Notice I said a minimum. Keep good records, attendance records. Know who each day is there and when they leave. Know any allergies. Know any custodial issues. Know church's policy and procedures for screening workers. Know who can change a diaper and where it has to be changed. Hand washing. 20 seconds before feeding a child, assisting a child with toileting and changing a diaper. Wash 20 seconds before and after assisting with a scraped knee or cut, wiping a child's nose or mouth. Know the policies and procedures on disinfecting surfaces and toys that have been used. And know what policies and procedures are in place for taking photos of preschoolers. You may have preschoolers who have non-custodial parents that do not have visitation or students that are part of a foster program. It is important to know this before photos are taken and, more importantly, posted on social media. Know the arrival and dismissal procedures. Have an emergency plan and have an evacuation route, and be familiar with where you take your preschoolers in case you have to evacuate the building. Have the emergency contact information for each of your preschoolers attending VBS with you as you evacuate. Familiarize yourself with the allergies of the preschoolers and how to treat them. Post signage of allergy alerts for things that they may be touching, tasting, smelling. Place this outside your classroom and at the drop-off area. Keep the classroom door closed. This helps keep the preschoolers in and adults who do not need to be in the classroom out. And it also minimizes distractions. Tip 1. Utilize your best resource, prayer. Tip 2. Develop a plan. Tip 3. Know your preschooler. Tip 4. Safety. And our last tip, tip 5. Develop a plan for follow-up. Follow-up is crucially important to VBS. And developing a plan before VBS is how we follow up after VBS is over. Pray for the families who have attended VBS and ask God for opportunities to have gospel conversations with the parents of the preschoolers. Pray God will begin to work in their hearts, and pray for receptive hearts, that they will hear the truth you are sharing with them. Be intentional. Have an intentional strategy for follow-up, and that strategy should begin immediately. Be intentional on reaching out to those parents and thanking them for allowing you to have their preschooler in your class. Invite them to come back on Sunday morning and schedule a place and a time for you to meet with them so that you will be the familiar face to them and their preschooler. Follow-up is crucial. Enlist others to help with follow-up so that it is intentional. We have discussed 5 tips for preschool. Tip 1, utilize your best resource, prayer. Tip 2, develop a plan. Tip 3, know your preschooler. Tip 4, safety. And tip 5, develop a plan for follow-up. Thank you for agreeing to be a part of your church's VBS preschool team and participating in this training. I hope you have found tips that will make your journey easier. Please reach out to me if you need any assistance planning your preschool VBS.